It's Amon here, going back to another one of my tier list videos. Hope you guys are having a banger day. Obviously in today's video, as you see, it is about what Lantern cores do the Overwatch characters go into. If you guys don't know about the Lantern cores, I'm obviously using the Lantern cores from DC Comics. The DC Comics Lantern cores are different patrol people / people of space with powerful galactic rings. They're the most powerful cases of technology of the cosmos, and mainly within the Green Lantern Corps / the Willpower Lantern Corps, they're space cops and be working like the FBI, doing a bunch of different things in space and be patrolling around to keep peace, civilization, and case of order and not disrupt anything and recall chaos with things. They've been kind of saying that back to back, but it's just in the point for what things are, and that's pretty much what the Lantern cores are as well. But they are powered by emotion. The Green Lantern Corps is powered by will, and here's all different Lantern cores. So let's go ahead and go up. We have the Will Lantern Corps, Compassion Lantern Corps, Fear Lantern Corps, Greed Lantern Corps, Rage Lantern Corps, Hope Lantern Corps, Love Lantern Corps, Death Lantern Corps, Light Lantern Corps, Shame Lantern Corps. Obviously, all the ones except for 2 are emotions. Again, generally they patrol because they're space cops. In some places, they're about reforming people about a different case of power, helping people, generating new cases they have for power, helping people get into a new, precise full understanding of their being in the place for the emotions. And through the power rings, they imbue with the better power of their emotion so that they can have peace. The 2 Lantern cores you see here, Light and the Death Lantern Corps, are not actually emotions, but recompense of emotions. The Death Lantern Corps are people dead in the cycle point of emotion. Light Lantern Corps empowers all of the Lantern cores, including the Shame Lantern Corps, except for the Death one. Shame Lantern Corps is a new Lantern Corps in the place of shame and people down out from the place for where they were. And that's pretty much all the Lantern cores I'm going to be testing, which Overwatch characters go into the field of all of that. So here we go. We're going to start from the bottom because last time I started from the top with Anna. So let's go ahead and run. I hope you all enjoy the banging music in the background. Here we go. Let's go from this. Zenyatta. He's an Omnic, a robot. He does not have general purpose of emotion, but he shows a lot of human side, care, and understanding, and he helped Genji through his qualms and everything and became his master. He's like a Buddhist monk. He shows a God of great revel and compassion. That's the main thing that he holds sincerely to everybody. He's nice, always considerate, never inconsiderate, has a lot of passion and compassion and sympathy for a lot of people, and makes a lot of peace and harmony as the greatest balance and tranquility of a person in itself, but doesn't press these things and belief on them. He just gives a little bit of understanding to people and wisdom, and he persevered this to Genji. And so compassion works the best with him. I also want to say when it comes down to how these Lantern cores work sometime, because obviously if you're in a Will Lantern Corps, that means Will, and Will can work for almost every character in Overwatch and alright when it comes down to case of their lore. But compassion works for people who have compassion and have no compassion. Because the Compassion Lantern Corps is supposed to rebuild people who have disdain for people of compassion, have no presence of compassion. So Zenyatta's put in there, he literally holds the entire press fill of compassion. But somebody like Doomfist could be in the Compassion Lantern Corps because he has no placement of compassion. So he could be reformed with compassion. Doomfist's mind of compassion is to unravel the world in a new plantation of making to persevere the world. When that's not truly how you could possibly run it, you can run it in a better way, with that being said. But that's why Zenyatta is there. Next, we have Zarya, the Russian beast, the strong woman. She works in a bunch of stuff. The main Lantern Corps that fits her the most is will. She has a lot of will when it comes down to her strength. She never gives up. She perseveres a lot. She has a lot of push, and she will work there. And how they would assign her within the Will Lantern Corps, she definitely can work as a parole person for the sector of Earth and do different things, and works the best with her. She could work good with love, but I'm not just saying that technically because of the fact that she has pink hair, even though it's one of the strong suits. But she has love for her country, but also imbues with will because she is a general at heart. So I would say will works the best with her. I already discussed the video about Winston's capabilities to be in the Red Lantern Corps, but that's just by rage. If we're talking about his actual character, there's multiple places of Lantern Corps he can go into. He can go into will, because he's a very willful person, mind and body. And he pushes very hard for the team, is the strength and exotic muscle of Overwatch. The other cases of Lantern Core he could possibly go into slightly to an extent is either, obviously, we have Rage, and then we have Shame. Shame is only in headcanon, because there possibly is a shame from Winston, the fact that he cannot save his father figure over on the moon base. But overall, if you wanted to place him in a place that fits his general character, that works, but he could also be accompanied into the Rageland Core. Let me go and go up, which is he's put right there. I think overarchingly, the place that works the best for him would be the Rageland Core, so that's why I would place him in that spot right there. I'm going to put Winston over in the Rageland Core. But if we're actually talking about another thing that's a strong figure, that's how he would be in general. That's if he could survive the transition to the Rageland Core. You could easily survive the Willland Core, because one, the Willland Core is just emplacement audition. Rageland Core, you have to have a great strike for rage to survive the agony that impairs you with rage. And even though he's a very rageful, genetically engineered metahuman gorilla, he doesn't have the regeneration or capability just to do that in that spot. So realistically, he'd be put into Will, but that's the one that also makes very much sense. Widowmaker, the girl shows no emotion. Widowmaker is the hardest with this one. She shows no emotion, but there is similar to path and emotion that comes from her point of view. So we could put her in some different cases. She doesn't work for will or compassion. She's a very willful assassin, and she'll pursue anybody. Fear works the best for her, because she wants to be a venomous spider that no one can detect, and having so much fear into her enemies, she would pin them away immediately. Because one, if you don't even know where she is and you see her as a dark phenomenon ghost, then you're arguably going to be done for immediately. She can destroy any target with just say that matter for her aura. So fear could work, and she definitely want to drive people within the place of fear. But arguably, if we go from her more human side, she does have shame technically for killing her husband in cold blood while he was sleeping. So we want to go with that aspect, that would work. But the greatest place to be within the case of her character will be the Fearland Core, without a doubt. And a lot of talent members gotta be in that place. But at the same time, there's different debate to come into set them out for the characters. But Widowmaker is a drive full of fear. She puts fear in anybody's eyes. Tracer, the poster girl, the Nadmet, Charlie, the Speedster. There's multiple been cases of places where she could be put in, involving the land. Of course, she'd be put in Will, because she has a lot of will to go for the Chrono Accelerator, transition, and the time stop, and all this different stuff. I'm going to talk about in case of everything I'm trying to say here. I'm not trying to cross my fingers, even though I'm a putting them in poet. I'm just saying there's a lot of different places, story to come within this. Wait, that kind of sounds weird. Now it's crossing back. Karma, you gotta love it. But the big stories that come within the characters, a story front that goes hand in hand. There's stories that come within this as well, because not necessarily a stutter, because I'm saying all around there's a lot of story interpulled with these characters. So me talking about them is cool, because it's the same matter for the bigger stories that come back in place from them. So a Tracer, an example, there's a lot of stuff come place in matter for her character. But I think the best ending core that works for her could be Hope, because she has a lot of hope to get through things. She's always hopeful that the world will be a better place. She always has a push and strive of hopefulness. It was spliced together with her colors great. And again, with all the big apartment cases, not a matter for her story, everything she welcomes and rectifies in the place for hope, because she always puts her greater feelings in the case for what Overwatch can do, because she hopes people understand that Overwatch is always strive to help people, and being a hero gives her that place and feeling, gives her warranty. And if she has the power to help people, she wants to like that place of hope, because hope is what got her through struggles. She wants to impute that same point to people. Next is Torbjorn. Torbjorn is very interesting. There's multiple cases of land chords that can go for him technically, but the one that would work the best to me, if we want to go with his true personality overarchingly, would possibly be either greed or it would be will. But it depends, in my opinion. Because the reason why I say greed is that he's not actually oversaturately greedy person. But his greed to always build machines and push and recompany all this time and problems into them takes away his family matters and care. So he only wants to push to remake something in his image and do this and do that. He's stuck in the machine warehouse and never in a point of care for some other stuff. But that's not necessarily greed, that's more just inconsideratism. because there's arguable take that he cares more for his machines than his family and Pacific, his great daughter, Brigitte over here. But I would more say will, because push to will off for each state of the matter, for his intelligence and his great building. But I feel like when you say greedy, it's only greedy to do that, but that's not necessarily a place of greed, because he's trying to have something he doesn't have. He already has that stuff, he just wants to keep building more and more and more. Having greed to a different extent is taking over burning point for what you already have. So I would put him in will. Next, you have Symmetra. Symmetra is interesting. Symmetra works in multiple ways, but if I had to say one that works the most in reconnaissance for how she's like, I would put her in the Love Lantern Corps. It's because she has great love for science, love for people, and wants to build up the greatest place of order for people around her. She cares for a bunch of people, loves them a lot, and takes on a lot of care and understanding for how things are like. And she sees people like her having the capability to make love blossom, and she wants her technology to make loving order for the people and not the strife in case of chaos that people will put them into. So I feel like love works. Hope also works because she hopes for the best, but a lot of love goes into what she does. So I feel like if you take that into point, that's another interesting place and point to talk about in the case for this matter as well. Next, we have Sombra. Sombra arguably is cold front and center, but there's a lot of arguable debates. The first one that comes to mind is greed. But at the same time, there's an argument for fear. I'm going to argue both, okay? Sombra wants stuff that she doesn't need. She oversaturates on knowing all this stuff, hacking left and right, pending on different cases of information that will hold arms, hold weight, hold a point, and does it for her own selfish acts, which easily places her in the greedy aspect. And a lot of times, she has no point for really doing it, but just feels entitled to it. But fear also works because, like a dangerous place / group of people in America, I'm not going to say their name and I forgot it, and you know why. You know who they are. If you know who they are, you know the rules, bro. You don't got to be from the streets to know how it is. But I'm just saying, a dangerous place to be in of her scenario is that she has all this information of groups and this and this and this, and she can ping you with anything, like how she was blackmailing the Russian general / political commander and senator, I guess you could say, and not one short. So she works in both. If I had to say which one makes more sense, I would say greed, because she loves to spoil the information too much. But I definitely could say, if you want to say fear, that works, because none of these other ones work. So I don't see how that would even work out for her. So I put her in greedy. She can work in fear. It's like I said, every time members work, but I feel like Widowmaker is more essential for fear. She's more greedy. Soldier 76. There's two places you could put him for two parts of his character. If you go with young Commander Morrison, Soldier 76, he goes into will. Because he embodies the entire point of will. He can also go into Spice of Hope. But he's a willful, profound soldier. If we go with how he is now, can he still go for will? He has 3 technical other places. Again, he has fear because of him acting like the Punisher and putting niggas out of commission no matter what and not having the same moral high ground like he did before. He could go in the shame category because he doesn't hold big shame, but it seems a little bit of drawback on what he does because he felt like he's left the hero code behind, and he does kind of hold regret on that. And then the final one that could work with this would be the Rage Land Core, because he holds a lot of rage. He wouldn't be able to survive the transition to Rage Land Core, but I would say overarchingly how he is now, fear works for him. But he wouldn't work with Sinestro. He couldn't work with the balance of Sinestro Core. So I would say will works for him. I know somebody could maybe argue hope, but the reason why I don't say that is because it doesn't work in the same function as it would realistically be in a different case. Because going up here, which doesn't seem super laggy with everything, you have him possibly being with these other landing corps or how they're like, oh, I need to go and charge my computer. Hold up. Hopefully my computer does not die. Shit. Alright, hold on. Even place a charge. It's gonna have to work for now. Let me see. It wouldn't be charging. Hopefully that's good and it's put a good charge. And like I was saying, he can work with that, but it's not the mainline place for how I feel like he would be. And overarchingly, him being in fear works better than being over here up in rage. So that's why I put him over in fear overarchingly. If we're talking his realistic attitude, he will be a will. A lot of finds him, I feel like, in the place for how he is as a person. Fear works. I'm going to put him in will just for security. Sigma. Sigma is a weird one. His emotions don't really peer out. But how he acts and how he feels with stuff, he's not greedy. He's not a fearmonger. He does not show big inanimate passion or compassion in that case. His passion for science is malevolent, but I'm saying the place for compassion is not like that. But saying within the passion or compassion, no. But compassion is still viable, same matter from not having compassion. But I don't think it's the main point place for how he would be in comparison. He has a lot of will for science, but that's not necessarily the ideal that he wants. So, to think about the other ones and what he has in point for what he does, I feel like there's a big arguable contender for hope. I'll explain why. He has always hoped to understand the bigger embodiments of the universe. And even with his insane, psychotic mindset and crazed understanding of things, he always still pursues to learn more about the universe and have the hope to do more involving science. And so every time he gets closer, I feel like my computer is about to die. This is not good. I feel like this shit is about to die, bro. Hold up. I'm just trying to go as fast as possible. I ain't gonna worry about that. Anyway, still like I was saying, that's the reason why I put him in a hope. If not, depending on the state of the matter, he could already be accompany him with compassion. He doesn't have compassion, and he can recoil his mind back to himself and no longer be in this psychotic out mindset. But that's where I would put him. Roadhog. This is pretty obvious. There's two. Fear could work because he's a very fearful, intimidating man. But greed works just because he's oversaturally greedy. And like his partner in crime, Junkrat, they both are harbingers of money and whatever fits them with something. So that's why I would say he goes over to greed. Okay, that was a weird place. Hold up, wait a minute. I feel like it's just the way the tier list is, or how maybe just how the internet is being like. I mean, it's perfectly fine. It's in the right setup as you see with the full bars and stuff, but I don't know if it's just the internet, like I said, or a combination of same matter for how things are placed together with all this other stuff. But I think it's overarchingly fine. Anyway, going on next to Reinhardt here. Reinhardt goes into many capabilities. He's very willful. He's strong, passionate, pushes to do what's right. He has compassion, but not to that big case of level like others. He has some place of hope that things will go better, and he pushes and strives. He has his rage, but it's more... Okay. Computer just died. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Fuck. Alright, well, I'll just go ahead and say it by head instead. It's having to do the rest. I'll go ahead and point my camera this way so you guys can see my face, you know, popping with the waves, you know what I'm saying? Sheesh. I'm gonna stop. But on the road. So I'll put Reinhardt and most likely Will, because he has a lot of great will and pushes and strives for a lot of things of Will. But at the same time, his point of view of being willful really depends on the matter, and is more about the corporation and strive of placing himself above all matters to be the hero, no matter the case, and mainly to fulfill his destiny as their shield and what he strived for. And so when he was younger, he's very angsty, he pushy, cocky, he was arrogant. And then he learned something. He learned sacrifice. He learned the point of being a hero. Being the shield meant so much to him. And so every day he always strives to be better. And so that kind of sounds like shame, but I see that as will, because he never gives up. And it's will what keeps him up. And even when his shield is broken, he still stands tall like the shield Reinhardt. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, in my opinion, I see that as the main case for why he would do that, with that point being made. Next one, going by my memory and not just going off point for how I would put them in their place, I will go ahead and go with Junkrat. Now, Junkrat is going to be greedy because he's a greedy bastard and does not care and does whatever he wants and is very psychotic. And so there's two that can go from obviously greed because he's a greedy person. Second, compassion. Junkrat does not seem like he has any formation of compassion for anybody and only does what he wants because he can. If we put into compassion sense, like Joker from DC, if he was put into the Compassion Lantern Corps, he would be able to reform himself. And that's the same thing with Junkrat. Same thing with Roadhog. And that goes for any villain or semi-evil anti-hero. But I'm just saying borderline for them. You know? Next, we're going to go with Genji. Genji has a lot of things that can work for him. He went for multiple conflicts. He has a lot of will for going for the torture of being brought back to life / reformed by mercy. The torture of his brother and willful to stay prideful and never give up. But as well, he's always had his conflicts that kind of brush on his will. But he always makes a push and will fit his green glow. He's had hope that things will go better, and through his teachings and simplicity of Zenyatta, he's pushed to be better as well. The Rage Line Core worked for him as well because of his rage. His killer instinct, Black Watch with the Rage Line Core, he would be blitzing like Shirogami. The precision on that, man. Jesus. And then there's the Love Land Core, but that's only because of the headcanon, even though it's blatantly canon pretty much, that Mercy and Genji are buttoned together and that they're a couple or at least have great love for each other as friends. So with his love and care for Mercy, for the love that she showed to him, with bringing him back to his life pretty much as his guardian angel, I would say that, especially since he forgave his brother, the man who just straight killed him in cold blood and doing all this other stuff, I definitely would see him doing that. There's arguable content that he could be in a Deathland Corps if he just came back to life, but there's nothing that actually proves solemnly that Genji came back to life necessarily. He was just near death. His body was found and Mercy helped him be back in his precaution of being alive and not placed in the grave. So there's multiple ways you can take that. But let's say he actually did die, then yes. But I don't know how high up we can take the possibility that Mercy actually resurrects people and doesn't just heal them greatly from near death. Because if that's actually the case, well, that's a whole necromancy thing. But taking that as headcanon, we could say that the best Lantern Corps out of all of them to me would be Will. Because he strengthens his way for a situation. He would not survive the Rage Lantern Corps thing, even with his cybernetic body. The Death Lantern Corps is headcanon. That's a what if. Hope works a different time. And I feel like that works the best. He has good compassion, but not to the extent to be a mainline Lantern Corps of it, you know? Then, when it comes down to how he acts in the peripheral of... Oh no, it's pretty self-explanatory. I was gonna say his rage put it on a bunch of people, so that's why he has killer instinct. But overall, hope works the best for him, you know. Then we have May. May's a bunch of things. She has a lot of will and care to give for what she got through. But the best one to me, besides compassion, would be hope. It works for her colors. She has a lot of love and care, and she hoped to give for everything. She hopes the world will be better. I'm pretty sure she says that at one of her startups in the game. I hope what we're fighting for is worth fighting for. She always hopes for the best. Like, she's a very hopeful, jolly Chinese woman. Like, she just is cool. So I would say hope works the best for her. Next, we have Hanzo. Hanzo immediately goes in shame. No matter his state of rage, no matter some fear, shame. He feels the most shame what he done to his brother since day one, since he splintered his brother from this world. He has felt shame. Shame works the best for him. He had shame in his heart and took that head on instead of kind of trying to fight against his brother because he feels like he has so much shame he can't put aside the history and learn that this is his brother Genji and learn to let it go. Maybe he can be reformed. Because Hanzo is still running away from his past. So, if he would actually do that, then that would work. Shame, immediately. He's golden star shame. That's fucked up, but it's the truth. And with that being said, that can reform him. Next, we have Mercy, Genji's boo. How she is as a guardian angel and what she does, love Landcore. Or even compassion. They both work. I feel like love is better. She has a loving spirit. She has a mother spirit. She's cool. She's a loving angel.